Come here. Welcome to the famous Foxes Aftermath Show, live every Sunday on Leicester Fan TV. Come on, you Foxes.
Good morning, Foxes. How the devil are you today? Coming from you live outside the King. Well, not quite outside the King Power, but from the hotel room. There we go. Let's just get it right. From my hotel room, just opposite the King Power. How's your weekend been so far? Well, we can discuss that the next 30 minutes. It's Sunday. It's 10 a.m. So it's time for the famous Foxes Aftermath Show, run by us fans in here for you fans out there. And you know what? Your opinion really matters. So get them comments in. Let's get going. It's kick-off time. Come on, you Foxes.
The City Machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Foxes Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're well. I hope you're good. How's your weekend been? Like I say, I'm coming to the end of my stay here in the King Power. It's been absolutely brilliant, apart from the football. We've seen a lot of friends, been great meeting a lot of people outside, around the ground. But like I say, it was a disappointing game yesterday, wasn't it? Well, the result was disappointing. Morning, everyone. I can't really see the comments. I'm on my phone. Morning, chaps. How are you? Reedy's doing all the comments for me and all the background stuff, so much appreciated. Morning, Dan. How are you? Like I say, it's from cold, wet, windy Leicester. I'll be back in Alcudia soon, but let's get some comments in. Let's bring Reedy in to see what he was here with me yesterday. He was about 2 rows away from me, chucking sweets at me all the game. So, Reedy, bring yourself on. Let's see what you think, mate. How are you?
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm good. But we had contrasting views, didn't we, after the game yesterday? You start with yours, and then I'll start with mine.
Okay. There was a lot of things that I'm not saying these because I'm Cooper out or because I don't like Cooper. Like these issues was because of how we set up and how we decided to play against Chelsea. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting to go and beat Chelsea, but how we set up in the first 30 minutes just showed you kind of the lack of style and set of play how Cooper wants us to play. Because all we did was sit back for 30 to 35 minutes to start the game, and we didn't really do much. We just kept kicking the ball up. Even on Match of the Day, they say exactly the same thing as I was talking about yesterday after the match, that every time we got the ball in the back 4, back 5, we just booted the ball up to one player up front because we're playing a 5-4-1. And it just didn't look like we wanted to even try and play against them. And then after that 35 minutes, we kind of started to be like, do you know what? If we can pass the ball around this Chelsea team, we can get at them. And it showed them. We could. In that 35 minutes to the half-time whistle, we looked better. And then after half-time, did the same thing again. It just looked like we just sit back, did nothing really, and then booted the ball up when we could. I don't think we showed any fight, any passion. I don't think we really tried to play against them. People can say that we were close and the scoreline can show it because we scored a late goal again. But at 2-0, I don't think we're anywhere close to being in the game, if I'm totally and brutally honest. But yeah, like Craig Andrew says here, we have no style of play. We don't. And people can say that, yes, you can put all the players out there, but unless you've got a set plan in how you want to start against your opponents, there's no point playing. Because I felt like, I said it in our group chat last night, I felt like Cooper just went out to the players and said, just go and play football. That's not a game plan. That for me is just not even not knowing what to do to combat Chelsea. And the last comment I'll say is, when I watched Match Day last night and Spurs beat Man City at the Etihad, they showed how you set up to outplay Man City, and there was like overcrowding an area for you to then to have free space in the midfield. We didn't have that. We just looked like every time we got the ball, we just booted the ball up. This is not me moaning. I want us to improve on this, but for me, under Cooper, I can't see that happening.
Do you agree with what Matthew's just said? Going nowhere, our squad isn't as bad as people think, or is it? So Matthew then really saying that it's down to the manager to get that squad how he thinks it should be, because he thinks we have a decent squad.
Like, I'm not saying our squad is top 10, but I think we're not getting the most out of them. I don't see it, because again, what can Vardy do when you're? Well, I don't know if they've been told to boot the ball up, but we didn't try and get the ball out of our box or out of our defensive area. We just booted the ball up, and as you saw match today, there was 4 Chelsea players, 2 defenders and 2 midfielders, all surrounding Vardy. There was no point even doing it, because it was just going to come straight back into the Chelsea attack. So I do think our team's better than it's showing. At the moment, probably not, because we have had injuries, and like say for Fatawu, and obviously now we've got someone like McAteer, which is probably a bit of a level down. But I think when you have a full squad, we should be doing better, and we should be getting better performances out of it than I think we are. And I think that's my biggest annoyance with Cooper, because I just don't think he's getting the most out of the players.
Yeah, I don't think he is. Like I said, I can't see the comments today because I'm on my phone. Reedy's got the comments. Reedy, you'll have to put a few comments up, see what people are thinking. Patrick, Chelsea did not break sweat. No, I think Chelsea still had another gear. But again, Chelsea was exactly Enzo ball last year, but 2.0, wasn't it? With better players. That back line yesterday must have been worth 150, 200 million, that back line. Let alone, and I tell you what, after 30 minutes, the amount of time wasting Chelsea were doing was unbelievable. I could not believe how they were time wasting so much. It was untrue. For Chelsea, I actually thought Chelsea were worried about us, because they were in that first half, they were 1-0 up and they were time wasting. Every free kick they got, they rolled about 20 yards.
I think that's more down to the players, mate. I think players like Cucurella are just used to doing that. They're not these amazing. They're not these amazing players. They just do it because they can. Like every time McAteer got the ball and won the ball in that wing side, he just fell down because he knew he'd get the foul for it. It's not. I don't think they're doing it to waste them. I think they're doing it because they know they can get away with it.
Like Matthew said, setting up defensively. Do you think we set up too defensively from the off, Reader?
Definitely. Again, I was saying to you straight after the game, we set up with a back 5 with Casey McAteer in that right wing spot. I know people said, I know you and Phil said, no, we didn't. I showed a picture of it off match of the day of there was a back line of 5 and McAteer was that right wing back. We just looked like we didn't want to even challenge Chelsea in that first 45 minutes. We just didn't want to give them a game. It just felt like we just went out there to say don't concede. And if I find the comment, I think someone said here, someone said we tried to defend him, we didn't even do that. So how can you go out there and try and defend and you still concede? It's just not good enough in my eyes. And
to what Matthew said, Neil Randall's put, maybe the players aren't good enough.
Let me find that one. They say if Enzo was still in charge, we'd be in the same position. Maybe so. I'm still trying to find this other comment.
Yeah, well, no, just Neil Randall's like contradicting what Matthew said. He said that the players are good enough, but then Neil Randall said that the players aren't good enough. So it's like different perspectives. It's like everyone has their own views. Yes, we were too good for the championship, but this comes back to donkeys years ago in my dinosaur era, where we weren't good enough for the top division, but we were too good enough for the second division. And I think we're in that kind of situation again.
I think this is where the difference between Cooper in fans and Cooper out fans are. I don't think people like. I don't want to be harsh on people, but I feel like you've got to know the chess side of the football game. Like people say, football's football. You can beat anyone on any day. I get that, but to be a better team than you've got to set up right to stop the opponents playing how you want to play. So like Neil Randall here also says, how would you set up? Like, I'm not a manager. I can't tell you how to set up. Like, that's down to the manager to have the knowledge and have the ability to analyze an opponent
I think
and work out.
everyone knows how I'd want to set up.
Yeah, exactly.
4-4-2. That's what I would want to set up as.
I'm not. I'd say that is the difference, though. It's people who think we've got a better team than we have, or people think that the team's not good enough. Like, if you don't think the team's good enough and Cooper's getting the most out of them already, then realistically, is that going to keep us up? Like, don't get me wrong, our players might not be as good as I think we are, but I think under a new manager, maybe it would improve players. I don't know, or I don't know. I feel like the main reason why we're not winning games is how we set up, and
I mean,
people
what
can
kind of?
disagree or
I
agree,
mean,
but
you were saying, well, I mean, what are people putting in the comments? You were saying that we set up with 5 at the back, but we weren't actually playing wing backs, though, were we? Casey McAteer was not playing a right-sided wing back because he hardly did any defending. It was more Justin that was doing the right back position.
yeah, like he was when we were defending, he was in that right back spot. But when we attacked, he was in more of a winger role. Like, I'm not going to say he was there the entire game, but majority of them, because we were defending majority of the game, he was more in the defensive half than he was in the attacking half. Because every time you saw that we got the ball back, the only man up front was Vardy. Even who was on the left hand side, El Canus or someone else. I can't remember. I can't even remember the team now, but both of them, all three of them midfielders who are behind Vardy weren't up there.
Well, the way it looked like when we first started, the way it looked like you had the back 4, you had Samari just sitting in front of the front 2, you had a midfield 4, and then you had Vardy up top. So you had a 4-1-4-1. That's how it looked to me to start off. Samari was sitting in the front 2, and for the first front 4, sorry, and for the first 10 minutes, Samari hardly touched the ball.
But that's because in my eyes, we just let them play. We just let them come on to us, and every time we got the ball in the defensive areas to win the ball back, we just cleared it straight up the pitch again to one player up front. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we played 5 at the back the whole entire game. There was a fact of we just didn't look like we wanted to play against Chelsea. We didn't want to try and pass the ball with Chelsea. We just looked like we just didn't really care. I'll bring some comments up now just to see what people are saying.
Yeah.
Councillor here says agreed. Wilsh was lucky to avoid a red card. I agree with that. I saw the challenge last night and it was awful. It was honestly awful. I'm glad he didn't get a red card, but then again,
yeah,
I'm not his biggest fan, so maybe it could have been a red card. Gray says how Cooper got the job is a joke. Nathan does agree with you. He said that you'd set up 4-4-2, of course. Less Fun TV Tom here says it's down to the manager to pull a philosophy and identity onto the team. We've not seen anything. One more comment before you speak, Jamie. Let's get J.A. Mills here says we have good players. Cooper has stifled the life out of them. A new approach is needed. Don't give Cooper a penny in January. Give the transfer funds to a new manager capable of getting the best out of the players. So again, there's a lot of controversy. People think that there might be better play. We have better players than we're looking at the moment, or the people that are maybe saying that we are a bottom 6 side and we're getting the most out we can with them. That's the difference between maybe Cooper in and Cooper out.
The problem that I'm having is that we've got a tough run of fixtures coming up, all very quickly. You've got Brentford on Saturday. You've got West Ham on Tuesday. You've got Brighton on Sunday. Then you've got another game on. Then you've got the Wolves game the following week on the Saturday. And then what else you got? You've got the Liverpool and Man City over Christmas. You've got a big congestion of fixtures there, and it just getting a new manager in now. I know, yeah. I must say, I'm starting to climb over that fence a little bit more than what I was like before the international week. But it's just how is a new manager going to come in now and get his plans?
Hey, I get you. I think the best time if you wanted to get rid of him was at the start of the international break. I don't think now I don't obviously I want him to go still, but now is probably the wrong time to do it because of how quick games are coming. It's going to be an hard ask because whoever comes in, it's going to be tough for him. But
See, what we've also got to think about is what Matthew Bond has said about the other teams around us are winning. And Lee Clayton has put Wolves are on top as well, both on YouTube chat. The council losing Abdul for the season is a brutal, devastating news. Yes, it is, because I think he was just coming. He was starting to show his form, but unfortunately, with him and Ricky P are now, I'd say Ricky P's out for the season as well because he's got dodgy legs. His legs are like chocolate fire guards. They just don't last very long, do they? Ivan Gibbs, Cooper's going nowhere, which probably Cooper will be going nowhere. Just I don't know. It's a tough call, isn't it?
I know it's a big ask to get rid of him in this moment. Again, that's why I called it after that Man United game when we had 2 weeks off to either sort it out or you keep him and see what you do. But now, other than the Wolves and the West Ham game, yes, you could probably say Brentford, who's next up, could be.
But Brentford haven't lost a game, are unbeaten at home.
That's what I'm saying. Like the only really ones you could say you should be going to and need to probably get 3 points out of is Wolves and West Ham. But like people have been saying, Wolves just beat Fulham 4-1.
It's like Lee Clayton said on YouTube, a new manager now, so he can see what is needed for the transfer window, which is true. The councillor has said, who do you replace him with? It's a poison chalice. It is a little bit of a poison chalice, but there's no points deduction there now, so that's not too bad. Craig said he needs to go now. It'll be too late. Yes, I think it will be too late. I'm starting to verge on that side now, unfortunately. I wanted to back him as much as I could, and I think my time's now coming.
We called Rodgers early, and it didn't happen till late.
I did.
Now, not like Tom says, we can't keep Cooper any more games, or we'll be in a Brandon Rodgers situation again where we left it too late. Might be hard fixtures, but plenty of times on the training pitch to get a new manager in. I'm not saying that we have to sack him today. I want him gone, but with the teams coming up, there probably won't be much time to get a new manager in and get our philosophy going. But you don't want to call it too late. I think after that Villa game at the end of December or even the start of January, I think that's too late. I think it is. Because again, I'm not expecting a new manager I'm not expecting a new manager to come in and win the next 7 games. I'm saying just to bring a bit of a new style and a bit more of a better performance, and hopefully it will lead to more games and wins.
When we sacked Brendan Rodgers, Dean Smith got a bed that season. Dean Smith got more points per game on average than Rodgers did the whole season. So if he beat like 2 more games, he'd have kept us up.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of timing, isn't it? And I agree. I honestly agree that it's a bit of a catch-22. Do you get the manager in now, so he's got time to see what the problems is through December, and hopefully he picks up a few points, we implement his new style and new play, so then he can pick players, or do you wait? And it's hard to judge. I just think that the time has come now that we've got to look a bit more seriously. Everyone's been backing him as much as they can. I think now's the time. Yeah, I think now the time to call it. This is going to really piss people off. I know.
Is this you, Cooper, out now, mate?
I'm getting that way, but this is going to be really piss a few people off. That because 2 weeks ago I was still Cooper in, then all of a sudden within 2 weeks I've now changed my mind, which I think is fully allowed. You're allowed to check. What's that one? Really talking sense. Really don't talk that bad. He doesn't flip flop as much as he used to do. He does. He's learned how to talk. He's just got to keep a bit calm. You've just got to keep calm on a Monday morning. I'm
just trying to be a bit more, not honest, but a bit more harsh on how things are, because people could. Like, I'm not saying anyone who are saying, "Oh, it's good enough." It's like we are where we are. We're not in the relegation zone yet. But it's not about that. It's about how you set up in games. Like I'm not expecting us to beat Chelsea. I'm expecting us to perform against Chelsea.
Richard Houston has been on at me all year about it, and now he's put. So even though I'm agreeing with him, saying he's got to go, he's now saying it's not hard to judge. For fuck's sake, he needs to go. So even though I'm agreeing with him, I can't win with him. he makes stupid comments, and I'm agreeing with him. I'm starting to agree with him. And now he's even having a pop at me for agreeing with him. So, what was that comment from Alan Measham Fox?
Let me have a quick look now.
He literally just put it up, the last comment.
Let me find it.
Vichai would have sacked him by now. Yes, I think Vichai would have sacked him. If you can't.
Alan Measham Fox says, we were top of the league last season and supporters wanted Enzo out. We knew he would struggle this season. This squad isn't good enough. See, that's the different opinions. I think that's now where we're at. It's either people think that we've got better players than we are seeing at the moment, or we haven't got a good enough team to survive. Because if people think the players aren't good enough now, we're not going to stay up. Because from what we've seen, in my eyes, we're not good enough to stay up.
The council has made a good comment as well. How can anybody support sacking Cooper without a replacement being lined up? That's a good point. You can't just sack someone and then take 2 weeks to get someone in. There needs to be a replacement, and a lot of clubs do have replacements lined up. But we seem to wait and wait.
But that's what we should do. I'm not saying to just get rid of them now and then have a manager step in for 2 games until we get an actual manager again. We need to be looking around now. Honestly, I'm not saying that we need to be looking around now and find that replacement and then be like, okay, we've got to our end now with Cooper. Now we've got a new manager coming in. Instead of like I say, the year we got relegated, we sacked Rodgers. We played 2 games without a manager. We played with the back end coaches. We lost. I think we drew or lost them, but that alone for me, if we had a new manager in for them 2 games, we probably would have stayed up.
LGFC.
No. For Fox's sake,
what was that last one?
He says Cooper has to go. Says for Fox's sake, Cooper has to go. Enough is enough now. Like there's many people saying it, and if you didn't see this coming, oh my god, again with Cooper, like, and this is where again on the other side of things, Phil said here the players are bottom 6 squad at best. So if you're saying that, there's every chance we're going to get relegated, and I think that's where I'm trying to be positive and say we've got better players than we have.
But there again, everyone says 17th, and I've looked back at videos. I've seen there's videos out there where everyone has said that it's 17th is the place we've got to be. That's it. Everyone was happy with 17th. Now all of a sudden, Cooper's here, and now 17th is not good enough. People want 14th, 15th, 13th, 12th. Everyone said at the beginning of the season, reading 17th. There's videos out there on other channels saying 17th.
17th
now all of a sudden,
because 17th because it's 17th because that's basically not going down. It's anything above 17th is better than
no one said
good.
No one said anything above 17th. Everyone says, "Oh, 17th. I'll be happy with 17th."
That's by the end of the season.
Now all of a sudden, before the season started, there's videos out there before the ball was kicked. Before a ball was kicked, people said 17th. And a lot of people went, yeah, 17th. I'll be happy with 17th. Now, them same people are now saying, oh, no, I'm not happy with 17th. I want 30, I want 12th, I want 13th, I want 14th, I want mid-table.
I think everyone's happy with 17th, but what we're saying is that's by the end of the season. And like J.A. Mills here says, we would be happy either way 17th, but we won't be with 17th with Cooper. It'll be 18th, 19th, 20th. Like, we're not saying, like, we could have a 17th worst squad, so we are finishing 17th. But as from how we're playing and how we're setting up, it's just not going to be 17th. That's the difference. That's why we're saying that a new manager could come in and make us better than 17th.
What people have got to remember, though, this is what people keep jumping on the bandwagon for. What everyone said, they'd be happy with 17th. This is what everyone says, we'll be happy with 17th. A lot of people just recently have said, oh, we should be pushing higher than 17th, even though...
It was 17th with a point deduction.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, it's still 17th, even with the points deduction. Everyone was still happy with the points deduction. That didn't happen. All of a sudden, do people think because we've got 17 and no points deduction, they think we're going to be higher than what we actually are? Because I don't think we've got that good a squad to go mid-table regular.
I'm not saying we are top 10. I'm saying we need to get more out of the players we've got. And that's me being a bit more positive and saying we've got a better squad than I think we're showing at the moment. And I think under a new manager, that's where you'll find out that the likes of Mabadidi will start to be more consistent. Like, I'm not a manager, so I don't know how to set this team up. But I don't think Cooper's got a clue either. I honestly don't. I honestly don't think Cooper's got any idea how to set a team up. It just showed yesterday. I'm not expecting us to beat Chelsea, but give them a game. Give them a bit of fight and passion into players. Don't let them just pass around you. You've got to give them a game. If you're not doing it, you might as well just not play and say you can have a 3-0 win and just end off. We just didn't even try for me yesterday. Like, I don't know what to say. I'm Cooper out. Linda agrees with me, says agree with me. Like, there's just no fight or passion, and I think it's got to the point now where we need something new. Lewis here also says really genuine voice of reason. Cooper out and Reedy in.
You just said you're not managerial, so you couldn't do it.
I'm not saying I can, but I can see there's no set plan, there's no set style. People say that you can put the best players out there, but we're not performing. It's about how you set up. Every week on Match of the Day, they talk about how teams have done stuff to beat a team. That we're not doing that. Shearer said to us, all we did was sat back, and then every time we got the ball, we just booted the ball up. There's no play, there's no style, there's no nothing. And for me, that's where the pitch lies. It's done.
Like League Lakes on YouTube, under new management with a game plan, we'll be better performed from our players, and I think a squad is 11th to 16th.
I'd say maybe 14th to 17th, but again, with the team, with the setting, the style of play we've got right now, it's not getting to 17th.
The councillors put, and Reedy, who would you replace Cooper with? And don't say anybody that can do a job. Just a name.
There's a few. There's a few that I'd take, and I will name them. But people are going to be like, well, they're in a job or they're in the championship or whatever. People like clubs look for style of plays. Company went from Burnley, who struggled in the Premier League, and went to Bayern Munich. Yes, they've got better players, but they're looking for the style of play. I'd mention Ruud van Nistelrooy, Carlos Corberan, Potter. I know people are going to say yes, he's turned us down 3 times, but now there's no point deduction. There's every chance he might come, but there's a style of play that I think we need to improve on. Yes, it might not get us any further, but if we do get relegated with a new manager, they're going to be like, well, we should have kept Cooper. We wouldn't know if he did keep us up or not.
The worrying thing is Garcia got sacked from OHL the other day, and his name was mentioned at the beginning of the season.
Hey, and they were doing better than us. They were doing better than us. They only had 2 or 3 losses this season.
They were 17th in the 16th place league, according to one source.
Yeah, but I was looking at the stats. They had played the same games as us. They only lost 2 games, and they drew majority of their games, and he got sacked. I'd take that already. Like, I know that it's a different league, but with them points they had from, like, if you had, like, I think they had, like, 2 wins, 6 draws, and 2 losses. Yeah. I'd take that by a mile over this.
I mean,
because that's going to keep us up.
If we're talking about new managers, you've got to go for one that's probably out of work because it won't take so long for compensation packages and someone like that. So,
like Jono Tower says here, Moyes. I don't want Moyes because his style of play stinks. But if we did bring him in, it would sort the defence out.
He wouldn't try for West Ham though.
He would sort the defence out. It would be more solidified. But I don't think the style of play is good enough to keep us up either way.
But just going back before we go on to the managers and that, well, we've been on about the whole, we're just going round in circles at the minute. It seems that the players are making individual errors. It's not like a team. Is it the style of play that's making the errors? Because yesterday I saw Vardy have a right go at Wout Faes when Wout Faes was just in the middle of the park, holding his hands up like that, looking completely lost. And it's making, week in, week out, they keep making individual errors, which I've been saying. Now, is that the way we're training? Is that down to the manager? Or is it on the player's head? That some of their players yesterday looked lost. should I say? I don't know for a better word.
You know what? I'm going to get slandered for what I'm going to say. And I'm going to get
Say.
plastered for it. I don't think FaZe was totally at fault for that one. And I will tell you why. First of all, we booted that ball up again. Out of majority of the game, we booted the ball up once again from the keeper. They won the header back, as always. Came into Jackson's head. FaZe was that close to FaZe. FaZe was that close to Jackson. All he could do was try and get some sort of touch on it. He can't get the ball out. He can't clear it. He has to just try and do what he can with it. And he tried it twice with his head, and then he tried for the third time to boot it out with his foot. Could have been dangerous because it could have kicked his head, but he tried his best. Don't get me wrong. Majority of the time, he does have errors in him, but that one, I'm sorry, I don't think I can blame FaZe too much on it. It was just a bad set play from the start, kicking the ball out, getting them back to him. For me, yes, you could take the player to Adam Tucker, you could, but I think people have this narrative on FaZe where every time he does anything kind of wrong, it's a massive mistake. I don't think he could have done much else. But the ball bouncing against Forest, yes, it was a mistake by letting it bounce, but I think he did his best where he could when he headed the ball. I know I'm going to get called for it. There's many people that, like I said, the council agrees with me.
He just headed it, just let it hit his head. It just,
yes. No, I get that. That was a bad error. But I think yesterday was very, very hard to criticise him completely on it because, again, the whole set, the whole play of it, of us giving them the ball from the goal kick, started it all off. FaZe was in a position where he couldn't do much else but try and do his best with it. I know he's a car crash at times, like Wayne says, but the council agrees with me. I don't think you can fully blame him for that error. Like he was putting on pressure there. He was put very much on pressure to get the ball out, and he tried 3 times. He nearly kicked it out, but he bounced straight back off the Chelsea player. So it's hard. I know people are going to say, like Craig says, FaZe error costs us goals every time, but I don't think FaZe was to blame completely.
Scooby Buzzers put something on a comment on YouTube. They say, bullshit, professional footballers know what a ball is and play the game. If they don't want to know, they won't play. Seems as they've been here before. It tells you we're back to square one again. We're back to 18 months ago. Maybe 2 years ago. We're in exactly the same position.
But if we're seeing if we're seeing this left, right, and centre every week, surely, is it because our players are shit? I don't think it is. I think it's, if we're doing this every week, I think it's getting to the point where it might be the style of play. And I'm not saying this is Cooper's fault, but there must be something going on that's making our players always have pressure on them to do something about a challenge. Like JJ, for me, I'm not blaming JJ for all these right-sided goals anymore. You can see the style of play we're playing. He put Buonanotte against Man United. He put Buonanotte on that right side. He's not going to track back. So then every time that JJ's up the pitch, that space is open on that right-hand side. He's basically isolated, and that is down to how we've set up.
Yeah,
for me, it's not always down to players' fault. It's down to how players have been told to play.
Like Tom says, Cody needs a leader next to him. What has Connor Cody got to do to get a game? What has Connor Cody got to do to get in that team? Vestergaard, I know I'm not the biggest fan of Vestergaard, but Vestergaard weren't even in the squad. But what has Cody got to do to go ahead of Wout Faes? How many mistakes has Wout Faes got to make?
Yeah,
he dropped JJ the other week because he made a load of mistakes. A couple of weeks ago, JJ didn't play one game, did he? He dropped it.
Yeah, because Pereira played.
Yes, that worked wonders, didn't it? So he's dropping like Justin, but he doesn't drop Wout Faes. He's Okoli, Vestergaard. He's dropped them. He's dropped Vestergaard like twice. Okoli's been dropped twice. But Cody doesn't get a chance to get in the game. I think that's the kind of leader we want.
Yeah,
we need someone like that next to him.
I think this is where Andy Schieber, throughout the game yesterday, really told me the same thing. We play too much long ball. When we play to our feet and quick passes, we look great. Almost scored by playing that way. Exactly. But we barely did that. We only did that for like a 10-minute spell in that first half. But I get what you're saying about Cody. I don't think he's the best defender. I think if there was a choice, I'd put Vestergaard in there. But I'd only put him in there for the back three.
We need someone with a bit of gob that can shout out orders.
And
not someone captain.
And that probably is Cody.
But shout out orders and tell people where to be and give them an absolute hairdryer at half time, throw the teacups at them. Well, they don't drink tea and orange anymore, do they? Throw whatever's in the changing rooms, the cans of Red Bull at them, and other energy drinks are available, and give them bollocking, give them what they need. But I don't understand why Cody cannot get a game. If you keep conceding goals, it's down to, like you say, the style and the defence.
Yeah,
I don't understand. He changes the one centre half, but keeps the same centre half in all the time.
Yeah.
So
I think the last thing I'll say about the style of play is the fact of I said it before. I said it when the team sheet came out. I said it again when the incident happened. But why is Cooper still deciding to play Ndidi in that 10 role? People are going to say yes, he played brilliantly last season, but he was against lower league sides. Now, when he has that moment to put that ball into the goal from the outside of the box, wherever it was, when he had a clear shot on it, anyone else probably would have put that in the net, and it was him. I think because he was in that spot, it was not going in, and I still don't see why Ndidi's going into this team. Maybe as a DM, maybe so, but not in that attacking midfielder. When you've got El Khanous there, when you've got Mavididi on the bench, I know he did well when he came on, but when Fati was injured, when Bonanotte suspended, your first man on that team sheet, for me, even if he's that inconsistent, is Mavididi. You give him a threat. You don't have anything in that team other than I think El Khanous played well, but I don't think there was much creativity in that team at all until Mavididi came on.
Yeah.
So
even so, Mavididi, there was times when he was running down that wing near us, he would stop and go backwards. Same as Casey McIntyre, he would stop and go backwards, which I don't understand. You just drive, not go backwards or sideways. Keep driving towards that byline. Get the defenders to make a rash tackle. Get the defenders on a booking. Get the defenders backing off you. Drive and keep doing it. Do it once, you get a red card. Do it again. They won't do it again because they've got a chance of being sent off. But they don't do that now in modern day football. They don't drive at the defenders that much.
Yeah, Tom says there's no style of play. Mark says get Cannon back. the one player we wanted to keep, I guess. Does Nelson come back? I don't think so.
I think he's out for season. I think he's out for season. I don't think it's. So I think Tom said January, but I think it's the season. I think it's an ACL he's done.
Yeah,
I really do.
Terrence says agreed. Indeed, you're not for the right position. Really missed Bonanotte yesterday. I don't think we did. I think El Khanous did the job. I think El Khanous did the job.
There was a few balls that needed to be just like half a yard faster, or just a few inches further. But I think he played quite well yesterday. I know he didn't. Even as man of the match, I haven't even done man of the match yet. Well, because I can't even think of a man of the match yesterday.
Go on, we'll go to man of the match then because we nearly finished the show. Go on.
Just before we go, let's have a bit of a laugh. And who's man of the match? Who would be man of the match? Would it be Ayew for scoring yet another late goal? Would it be, I don't know, Emerson? But he didn't do a lot, did he? He picked the ball out the net twice. He saved 2, I think it was. But other than that, I don't know. Definitely not the referee, because the referee was pants.
We've not even spoke about that. Quickly again, before we go to our match, have you seen back that first penalty?
No, I haven't. But from what I've been reading, a lot of people have said it wasn't a penalty.
See,
I haven't seen much of the day. When we were in the ground. Oh, Jesus, you probably could have heard me.
Yeah, when we were in the ground, it looked stonewall. But watching the match today, it kind of looks like Mavididi's kind of trying to gain it. He's trying to get into his leg. I get. It has been given before, but I don't think it's a stonewall.
Yesterday's referee was so inconsistent. There was one where Declan Dover-Reid turned his man, won the ball, and then the referee blew up for a free kick. He turned his man. That's all he did was turn his man. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
And then there was the free kick on just the non-free kick on Justin before they scored. Justin went down in a heap and stayed still. Joe Felix went over and rolled about 30 yards and ended up in the penalty box, and he got a free kick for it. And then he got up, Felix from the frames, and like, oh, look at me, I'm fine. He'd been like shot by a sniper, and then all of a sudden he got up, like, oh no, I had a bulletproof vest on, I was fine. Didn't hurt me.
Yeah, Pete Brown here says I'd be pissed if it was given against us, but I'll be happy for it to be given. So yeah, he don't think it was a penalty as well. Go on then, Jamie. Before we finish, man of the match. If you could pick one.
I can't. I'm not sure who to give man of the match.
Well, let's get a few people in. Derek says Sumare. Mr. B says Sumare. Mark Langman as well says Sumare. Neil Randall says Okanus and Sumare.
I'd have to give it with Okanus because that was like probably one of his better performances.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'd have to. Yeah, Okanus. He tried a lot of stuff. It came off. He worked his socks off. Yeah, there was some things he could have done slightly better, but I think Okanus for me on his better performance.
Okay, mine's going to be Enzo Maresca. No, I'm joking.
What a surprise! What a surprise!
I will give it to Okanus. I think Sumari is a shout for it, but yeah, Okanus deserves it. Does he come in against Brentford, or does Buonanotte come back in?
You don't know. That's for you, Phil, to talk on Monday night. We're not going to talk about the Brentford game. We'll leave that to Phil on Monday night at 7:30. Jono and Simon Mack on Thursday with the Football Focus, and you and Sam doing the Tactics Show either Thursday or Friday, whichever day. And then me again next week. Back in sunny Alcudia next week.
Yes.
But we shall see you soon. But must admit, I am back for the next 2 home games though. Remember that. I am back for the West Ham and the Brighton game. So
You've already had enough for you, mate. You've already had enough for you.
I fly back today and then come back next week as well. So there's commitment for you. Seeing 3 home games on the trot. It's a 2,400-mile round trip I'm making, and there's still people that live in Leicester that don't go but like having a comment on it. So there we go. So Reedy, I shall see you through the week, pal. Be good,
Bye-bye.
mate. Have fun. See you later, pal. Be good. Right, there we go, lads and lasses. Once again, much appreciated for you getting out your pits and watching me and Reedy waffle on about our club that week. So I'm pointing out there because that's where it is. The ground's just there, where we waffle on. So much appreciated. So it's ciao, ciao, adios, goodbye, yakida. There goes the final whistle. Come on, you foxes.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.